What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. The sun is shining, the weather is sweet, smells like a bit of positivity in the air as well, and smiles on our faces as well. So big up to everyone out there. Bit of hope,
Just
yeah.
A dash of hope. That's all these fans
No football, no ball's been kicked yet. Maybe that's why there's a bit of hope in the air, because we haven't seen Spurs play in a while.
As long as we don't play, then it's like we don't. De Zerbi's Tottenham could be the best team in the world as long as we don't play, and that's what we got to kind of think about. We can use our imagination. Up until that first game, we're watching all the training, we're watching all the rave reviews and the reports. We'll get into all of that, but we're in a weird kind of in between at the moment where we've appointed De Zerbi, we're watching all this training and getting all these great reports, but we haven't seen us actually play yet. So right now, we're great. We're world beaters. And we're going to take the Premier League by storm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's unbelievable how much people can take from 8-minute training, 8-minute training video. We're literally going to storm the league next season and stay up this year. But just before we came on, Oxford were playing in a pivotal match against Portsmouth. Will Lancashire seemingly put Oxford ahead in the dying stage of the game, but Portsmouth, 10-man Portsmouth came back and equalised in a massive game down at the bottom. But really nice header from Will Lancashire at the back post. Bullet, wasn't it?
10th goal, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's having a great loan spell, isn't he? So really glad for him. I wonder what next season holds. Maybe a higher level championship loan. Because clearly he's very, very at home at that level. So that's really great. Any chance of a first team?
He might not need a championship loan.
Huh? Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right.
He might not need a championship loan.
It's good to know if we do go down. We've got a championship striker ready and waiting for us.
Yeah, absolutely. But we got a lot to speak about today. We're going to go through De Zerbi's training session as well. Obviously, last week we brought you the 1-minute clip that was doing the rounds on social media. We've got the full 8 minutes in all its glory, which we're going to do, which we'll go through minute by minute. But without further ado, let's get in to one of 2 Tottenham updates we have got for you today. And on the back of that training session, Alistair Gold has been reporting that the players went home with rave reviews of Roberto De Zerbi's first day of training. One at the training session telling close friends that it was outstanding, and numerous others bringing glowing reports back about the level of work, which is great to hear.
Yeah, and I think you could see that in the clips, which we'll go through later. But I think we've been so kind of restricted it feels like in our training over the past especially this season, over the past 8 months or so. It seems as though these players are desperate to get back to playing their football, training in a way that's going to get us on the front foot, training with attacking intent, being creative. And I think that's what De Zerbi, that's his kind of, that's what he knows. That is his way of playing. That's what he trains. And I think we've heard from various different players who've played under De Zerbi that his training is phenomenal, and he's a very intense trainer, but he holds very high standards. And I think these players are really going to buy into it. I think these players have been they've lost out on a lot of kind of training in these methods for a long time. And I don't think what he's doing is anything kind of that the Premier League hasn't seen over the last couple of years since he's come in. But us as a football club, we've lost out on that because we've had Thomas Frank playing his way of football. And it's like these players are like dry sponges, ready to absorb all this information from De Zerbi and ready to get going. Yeah,
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I am getting excited, but it's hard to get overexcited just yet without a ball being kicked and only seeing a bit of training session. I remember hearing the same kind of narrative when Thomas Frank was first taking training sessions, and we got the dream team of Justin Cochrane and and everyone that was all the coaching staff saying, "Look, we've got these proper coaches in now. Look at this coaching session." Remember that first coaching session under Thomas Frank? Everyone was like, "Wow, we're actually being coached now," and it kind of feels like the same now.
Yeah, but we're potentially, but I think for me, what you saw the results in terms of the football they played, the output from De Zerbi to Frank is night and day at Brighton and Brentford. It's very, very different. So as much as I think maybe Frank gave them a lot of ideas in their out of possession play, which maybe they didn't have under Ange, which is this is how we're going to be when we don't have the ball. And there probably was quite a lot of new stuff there. So probably players were like, okay, this is quite good at the start. But unfortunately, our in-possession game completely collapsed, and we didn't know what to do when we had the ball. So now it's going to be a 180 on that. It's going to be completely what we're doing on the ball, how we're manipulating the opponents, how we're controlling the game. And I think we've just been restricted of that for a long time.
Yeah.
Devoid of that, that's the word. We've been devoid of it.
Let's talk about Johan Lang and Vinay Venkatesham. Ben Jacobs says that both are now under huge pressure at Tottenham Hotspur. Both Johan and Vinay are under scrutiny, and there'll be an end-of-season review. As of now, I think Vinay is safer than Johan. That's not to say he's safe, though. Sources in the sporting world indicate that Johan Lang's position at Tottenham is under significant threat, regardless of whether the team stay in the league or get relegated. And yeah, I think both these guys need to be on the chopping block. Look, we've said it a number of occasions over the course of the season. Both of them doing a horrific job at Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, Johan's been there longer than Vinay, but yeah, look, if it was up to me, I'll put them both on the chopping blocks at the end of the season.
Yeah, obviously, as you say, he's been there longer, and as well, Vinay's in a higher position as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's always going to be Johan to go first, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Not to say that Vinay shouldn't also go, but it makes sense that Johan would be under more scrutiny because Vinay's probably going to the board saying, yeah, this Johan guy doesn't know what he's doing. Whereas who's the one holding Vinay accountable will be the Lewis family. So hopefully that happens in the summer as well, and we can get a new chairman. But I think at the end of the day, Vinay inherited Johan, didn't he? It's not like he appointed Johan.
Yeah, correct.
He did get Paratici through the door, and then Paratici ended up leaving as well. Obviously, I feel like Vinay will probably stay. I feel like Vinay will be given the ability to appoint another sporting director alongside Roberto De Zerbi, because obviously we've got De Zerbi over the line. Whether that's right or wrong, I think it's wrong, but I do think that's what's going to happen, because I think as a chairman, it's very hard to be judged on footballing results in a very short amount of time. I think that's how the hierarchy will see it. I think the decisions they've made as a collective have been horrendous, but I think they'll probably give Vinay a stay of execution, and they'll probably throw Johan to the wolves. Albeit, from Johan's point of view, he was thrust into sporting director role after already being kind of having power taken away from him with Fabio's appointment. He went to this dual sporting director role where he was supposed to be taking kind of different responsibilities, with younger players, and then Paratici leaves and he's thrust into the main thing again, where he's already been kind of restricted, he's already been downgraded. So from his point of view, he's like, look, just downgrade me again, but keep me on. That's probably will be his kind of pitch. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy for him to go.
I think that they're both going to go. And the reason why I think both are going to go is because I think that the Lewis family are trying to do things in their own way now. And I think they're going to want to have a complete clean slate from what the Levy tenure was. And obviously Vinay was brought in as Daniel Levy's number 2. There is a report a bit later on, which we're going to get into, about Maurizio Pochettino saying that, hiring Pochettino they thought was a kind of nod back to the Daniel Levy era. And I just feel like they're just going to want to go completely clean slate. All these people, all these decision makers in the Daniel Levy tenure, I think they're going to go with all their own people, in my opinion.
We'll see. I mean, I don't mind that at all. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I got a feeling Vinay was put in place with a view of potentially him taking over at some point without Levy knowing. I think there was talks of maybe Charrington appointing him, but I don't know what the truth is exactly. We'll never know behind closed doors. I got a feeling Vinay will stay, though.
Well, all will be revealed.
I'm pretty happy for have a clean slate. We need to get these decision makers out because they're not doing any good for the club. That's the reality.
We're going to talk about De Zerbi's power at Tottenham. Obviously, we heard last week that he's going to be given power that no manager probably has ever had at Tottenham, particularly under ENIC. Ben Jacobs, again, this is all on Last Word on Spurs, by the way, saying Nick Butcher and Vivian Lewis are prepared to seize control and step back to trust in the manager and succeed in his domain, and De Zerbi's voice in recruitment will carry a lot of weight. De Zerbi will help pick the sporting director, and that shows you that he'll have some say in hiring and firing, but not as a clean cut. But it won't be as clean cut as that. They, the Tottenham board, will lean on him, and he's going to have a more defined, leaner executive team, but no veto over recruitment. Which I'm not sure what that exactly means, no veto over recruitment. But he's going to have
the final say.
He won't have the final say.
He can't veto. If it means if the board want to bring someone in, or whatever, the recruitment team want to bring someone in, they'll have discussion about it. And if they still, after those discussions, say, we're going to move forward with this, he can't veto it.
But isn't that the same? Isn't that the same as like Ange or any other manager that we had? Because he was always in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if they wanted to move forward with someone, they would move forward with someone,
Correct.
regardless if the manager says.
Correct.
So what's the difference there?
Well, from a recruitment standpoint, no difference.
So how is he getting more power then?
I don't think previous managers had a say on who was our sporting director.
Fine, sporting director, yeah, fair. But in terms of just normal recruitment,
maybe he'll be in more of those conversations. Maybe he'll be. I don't know.
I guess that if De Zerbi has a say in who the sporting director was, they'll be very much aligned, and the sporting director will be very much aligned with De Zerbi, and they'll probably want similar players anyway.
Probably think so.
Yeah. This is interesting. We actually spoke about this when we were talking about the finances last week with Sarah, and she kind of brought this up a little bit, and it says that if Tottenham are in the Premier League, they do have a rare opportunity because of the change in financial rules. This is sort of a free hit year for Tottenham to go very big and very aggressive in the market. If they can stay up, who that sporting director is and how much they're prepared to spend is significant. Normally, you would say get Champions League football, and that can attract certain players, kick on the project. But to miss out on Europe and not be bound by this 70% squad ratio, be able to go up to 85%, which will mean Spurs will be able to go up to around 85%. And be able to add 30% more without incurring any penalty in a backhanded way. It puts Spurs in an advantageous position, but it really is a year one free hit. So being out of Europe might work in our advantage.
Yeah, financially, because as you say, you get that little bit more leeway when it comes to how much you can spend. So I think it's one thing having that advantage, and it's one thing taking advantage of it. And that's what we've seen from Tottenham over the years. We've had financial advantages, and we've had things that if we were really serious, would take full advantage, like the big PSR headroom, which you never seem to fully take advantage of. So, look, in theory, it's good. I think Man United this summer, being out of Europe, they spent a little bit more money. I don't know if the financial rules were in place by then, but obviously out of the Champions League, out of Europe altogether, they went on to sign Cunha and Buemo, Sesko, all for big money, and really, didn't let it get them down, the fact they were out of Europe. So I hope Tottenham do the same. I hope they strike while the iron's hot from that point of view. If we've got a 1 year free hit to really just go hammer and tong and get really big targets and splurge a bit if we can. But whether we actually do that, and do we have the money to do that as well?
The thing is, right, well, it would take a cash injection from ENIC.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing here. But the thing is, right, it's just like whenever a new manager comes in and whenever there's a new dawn, there's always something that gets spun on the PR saying Spurs are in this an amazing opportunity now, Spurs are in this great position, Spurs can do this, Spurs can do that, but we never do it.
No.
That's the problem.
Look, at the end of the day, I'll believe it when I see it. That's the reality. We've heard these things a million times, and they might all be true. But at the end of the day, if they've got nothing to show for it and there's no proof in the pudding, it's hard to get excited by all these kind of reports. And yeah, they can say we've got money to spend, and we're going to break the wage structure, we're going to spend, and we've got, there's a year possibility here we've got an advantage from the financial side of things. But are we actually going to make use of it? Are we going to bid that extra bit ahead of other clubs? Are we going to spend that little bit more on wages if another club is offering big wages? Are we going to go the extra mile? Are we going to do that? Let's wait and see.
Yeah. And last but not least, on Maurizio Pochettino, Ben Jacobs says that it's his understanding about Pochettino is that there were senior figures at Tottenham against hiring him, as it would be a nod back to the Daniel Levy era, even though it was understood it would be a popular move. Vivian Lewis is understood to be one of those against rehiring Pochettino. And look, we've all spoken about these guys taking a step back, letting the football people make those footballing decisions. So what do you make out of that?
Yeah, I mean, this was also a problem back when we looked at him. I think it was when Nuno was in charge or around that time, and we were looking to get him through the door. And again, at that point, the board was split. Some people said, yeah, we have to get him back. It was a massive mistake sacking him. And some people say, no, we have to move on from him. We sacked him for a reason. You can't go backwards. I do see both sides of the aisle here. I do see, but for me, I do think De Zerbi is more up to date with what's currently going on with football in terms of the way he plays, and I think right now he's more of a current manager. Not to say that Poch is outdated in any way. I'm just saying I think De Zerbi plays a higher level of football on the ball than Pochettino does in this current moment in time. But that's not the only thing that should go into it when you're deciding what a new manager is. There's also personality, mentality, how they're gonna. If it's a good fit with the board and the recruitment and all this kind of stuff, how the management style, all that kind of stuff, and as well how we'll create unity with the fans. And I think Pochettino ticks every other box ahead of De Zerbi for me at this current moment in time. So I'm willing to maybe take a hit from maybe tactically if you get all those other things through the door, and that's what I think Pochettino would have given us. But for me, I also said I wouldn't be waiting around for Poch. I don't think we're in a position to be waiting for a manager in the summer. Even if we wait, it's not guaranteed that we can get him. Albeit it's quite likely if we wait till after US go out and whatever, and we approach him, he'll probably say yes. Nothing's guaranteed. So the position we're in right now, if we can get De Zerbi, you get De Zerbi, and you don't wait for Pochettino. And so I'm glad they did that, albeit they probably left it too late. So I'm glad they did that. When it comes to not wanting Poch because it's linked to Levy, I mean, the reason why Poch didn't work out he had success at Tottenham despite the fact he didn't win any trophies. If you're only judging success by trophies, yeah, he didn't win anything. But we all know he performed miracles at Tottenham. He overachieved massively. I think we probably should have won something when he was here. But at the end of the day, the reasons why we probably underachieved with the squad that we had is because of the lack of investment. Now, if they're going to promise investment and they're promising we're going to back this team and we're going to, money will be available, there's no reason why bringing Poch back couldn't work. There's no reason why he couldn't come here and, you give him a good amount of money, the recruitment's all lined up, and we can win something. You can build a similar team. So I don't see why, just because he was here under Levy, that should stain him. Because I think there are reasons you can see, look back at that time, and Levy was probably the reason we didn't go as far as we could have. So why not correct that, I think, in my opinion. So I don't know why. It's not like... I don't know what they're insinuating by saying it's harping back to the days of Levy. I think
they're basically saying they don't want to go backwards. They'd rather move forwards. They'd rather bring in their own people. But look, in my opinion, I was quite consistent in what I was saying about Pochettino, saying I'm dying for him back. I'd love to see him back, and I think he should be the number one choice to bring back as our next manager. However, having said that, you were right in what you're saying. You can't sit here and wait around and just wait to get relegated, and because that's what was going to happen if we wouldn't have hired De Zerbi. So we needed to make a change here and now. Pochettino's not available here and now. Mm-hmm. He was never going to come here and now. So I think they've made the right call. They've made the right call in throwing the book at and throwing all this money at De Zerbi, because if we would have stuck with Tudor, if we would have stuck with Frank, if we would have brought in another interim, the likelihood is we would have gone down. Look, we could still go down, but we've given our best chance of survival right now. So you can't just sit here waiting around for a manager with all your future completely up in the air. We've brought in a manager now. We've trusted him in the long term, so-called long term, given him a 5-year contract, and we've got to see how it goes.
Although part of me feels, was this the last opportunity to see a Poch return?
I don't think so. I think that opportunity is always going to arise.
I don't know. Timing always seems... I think this was the summer where timing seemed to be aligned.
But it wasn't aligned, though.
I mean, in the end it wasn't, but it seemed like it could have been if we would have waited. If we could have got to the summer, staying up, and then he would have been available after USA, then all of a sudden everything would have been aligned. But obviously we were so bad we couldn't risk it. And for me, I think that's the right thing. But I feel like this might have been the last opportunity, because all of a sudden we'll see what happens with De Zerbi, but then Poch might take another job. We'll see what happens with him, and then it's timing's very important in football. And when by the time De Zerbi goes, is Poch going to be in another job?
Yeah,
and,
look.
Then that's another opportunity.
Poch, look, let's get it right. Poch is still a relatively young manager. He's still got many years as a manager. Managers come and go, especially at Tottenham Hotspur. You know the nature. So there will be another opportunity, whether it be in 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. I think there will be another opportunity, and I do think he will be back at Spurs one day. But like you said, timing is the most important thing, and the timing wasn't right. It just wasn't right. Like we couldn't wait for him. So as much as we're saying, yeah, this summer was the perfect opportunity, it wasn't the perfect opportunity because we need to do something now.
Okay.
All right. Well, that that is that Tottenham update. Let's go on to another one where we're going to be talking specifically about transfers. Calcio Mercato says that Tottenham manager Roberto De Zerbi wants to sign Fiorentina striker Moise Kean in the summer transfer window. It is claimed that the Italian forward could be heading through the exit door at the end of the season, and Fiorentina are set to demand in the region of 44 million to allow him to depart. I mean, this is a striker that keeps going up in stature in the game. Obviously, he's done very well over the last couple of years. Fully fledged Italian international now and doing well on the international stage. Would you like to see Moise Kean in a replacement for someone like a Richarlison?
It's an interesting one. He's had a really good 18 months.
Yeah.
But Fiorentina haven't exactly been brilliant, but he's been quite good. Now regularly starts for Italy. How impressive that is. Remains to be seen, because Italy have now missed out on their.
But he scores regularly for them.
Yeah, he does. He's a regular goal scorer. He does really well in Serie A. Obviously, he was at Everton and it didn't really work out, but that was a while ago. He's been to many big clubs: Juventus, PSG. Who else has he been at? Obviously, Fiorentina, Everton. He's been around the block to a few decently sized clubs.
Everton, PSG, Juventus, Fiorentina.
Okay, so I named all of them. Would I like to see him through the door? I don't know. It's hard to judge because Serie A seems to be not at its best at the moment.
Yeah.
So judging him based on his Serie A form, despite it being pretty good, I don't know if that qualifies him to be first choice for Tottenham. I'd probably take him as a squad player, but I don't know if I'd. I mean, to be fair, I'm quite impressed whenever I see him. So.
What about him battling for that spot with Dom Solanke?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, replacing with Richarlison, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
And 44 million does seem like a decent price for someone. He's 26, going into the prime years of his career.
How many goals has he got this year?
Only 8. 8 in 26 games. It's not even that many. Last year he got 19 in 32, which is a really good return, obviously. But this year Fiorentina have been massively struggling, massively. So,
but you have other strikers like you had Scamacca who's like banging the goals in Serie A, and then comes to England and just can't
didn't Scamacca do really well for De Zerbi at Sassuolo?
He did.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Don't know. I think under De Zerbi as well, strikers might look a bit different and a bit better than what we've seen in previous years as well.
Yeah, you might not be wrong there. You might not be wrong. I wonder if he's going to scour the Italian market. I wouldn't be surprised if he's interested. Obviously, he's going to have to deal with Fabio to get him in, and whether Fabio gives us a good deal or not.
He'll use his contacts, and he's definitely got contacts at Spurs.
Yeah, I think. Look, for me, he wouldn't be my number one choice. I'd look around, but I think he's decent. I don't think he's anything special.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Spurs linked with another player from Serie A, Tutto Sport, claiming that Tottenham are interested in Sassuolo defender Marek Murahamovic. It is believed that the Italian club are demanding 30 million for the Bosnian international. 23-year-old has been touted as one of the best defenders in Serie A this season.
Marek Murahamovic.
You know much about him?
Not really. Obviously, plays for De Zerbi's old team.
Yeah.
So I'm sure De Zerbi's keeping a close eye on him. Was he a centre-back?
Centre-back, yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to go for Van Hecker, to be honest. I don't know if we go, and then we've got Vuskovic potentially coming back. Then you got Danso still there, Van de Ven if one of Van de Ven or Romero stays. So I don't know, maybe. I don't really know much about
Says
him.
here he's strong aerial ability, aggressive tackler, composure in the build-up play as well.
So he's the perfect defender.
Basically, yeah.
Left-footed. Okay.
Goal threat as well. So I mean, the thing is, like, if we went for Van Hecker, we need someone on the left as well. You know.
If Van de, well, depends which of Van de Ven or Romero.
Or if
leaves.
both of them leave, we need two, don't we?
Oh, obviously, yeah. I'm gonna guess one stays, but I don't know which one.
Yeah.
They might both leave.
And then you've got Vuskovic coming back in as well. So that raises another question. But he seems like a good prospect, but I've never actually seen him play with my own eyes, so it's hard to make a big judgment call on that.
One thing to know is Sassuolo are very used to playing quite, attacking football. They're one of the more offensive teams in Serie A, and that kind of started under De Zerbi. But so he's not. Yes, he's playing for a Serie A team, but he's not playing for one of these teams like when we signed Dragoshin, who was playing for, was it Genoa? Yeah. And they were just like a defensive team, and he didn't translate very well to Tottenham.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be different.
Yeah, agreed. On Vuskovic, there has been some quotes from him, and he says, after this season, I'll be a Tottenham player again. I have a contract until 2030. It is also my dream to play alongside my brother Mario at Hamburg. I would give everything for that, and Spurs know that too. So obviously Vuskovic looks like he's angling for another loan move next season.
Yeah, we've heard that. It's kind of a unique opportunity to him to play with his brother, and his brother obviously was banned for a few years.
Yeah.
For some would say unjustly, it seems. He was banned. So obviously he's looking at thinking, I would love to play my brother. Like, what an unbelievable opportunity that is, once in a lifetime or once in a career thing. He won't get the opportunity again if he doesn't go move next season. But we're not a charity, we pay his contract, we pay him a good wage, and if we want him and we want to keep him, then he's gonna have to do it. Like he and as well, the chance to play under De Zerbi, take his game on as well, even more, and develop him as a centre back. So it's a tough one. I understand his point of view, but I think from Tottenham's point of view, he's too good. Like, we need him. We need him next season. And he's just been pulling up so many trees in the Bundesliga, and I think it's time to take his game on another notch.
Yeah.
Maybe we should sign his brother. Maybe that makes sense.
I won't be against that.
Just loan him for a year. You loan his brother for a year.
It'll be quite frustrating to see Vuskovic go back to Hamburg next season, because like every single year he's taken a step up in his career, and he's flourished every single time. And obviously going back to Hamburg, it's still playing in the Bundesliga, so he's still playing at a high level. But if he's not coming back to Spurs, you want to see him just keep progressing through the ranks, don't you? And you want to see his development just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And when you're talking, like, Hamburg have got such a touch here, because they've got him on the heartstrings, don't they, playing with his brother coming back into the frame next season. And they just must be like, wow, like, we've got this young prospect who's best defender in the Serie in the Bundesliga this season, dying to play for us again next season.
In a relegation battle.
Like, they are in like some crazy situation.
Yeah. So they're going to do everything they can, of course. It'd be very interesting to see how we play this one, because we don't want to upset him too much. But surely he's understanding, like, we own you, like, we pay your wages. So what can he do? He can't. I don't think he's going to force a move, because we actually want to keep you.
So if in a world where Romero stays and we sign Van Hecker, I'm not against it. I'm not totally against it. One more year in the Bundesliga, then bring him back and maybe look to sell a Romero the following summer. I wouldn't be against that, because then you've still got two quality, and you've got Danso there as well. That could provide Cara.
You assuming Van de Ven leaves?
I'm just talking about the right side of defence for this moment in time. If you've got those three, I'm not fussed. Vuskovic can go on another year at development and fulfill a dream of his of playing with his brother and everything like that. He's still so young that we shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But in an ideal world, I want to see him back at Tottenham. That's the reality.
Agreed.
All right. Well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below
the Romero stuff.
Oh, sorry. There is one more thing, actually. Romero's dad, Victor, has been piping up in the press, and he says he has 2 more years on his contract with Tottenham and a very high release clause. The English club isn't going to let him go for free. It's between 50 to 70 million dollars, it says, which is 37.8 million to 53 million pounds. That's quite a big jump there. For me, they'll want to recover everything that they've invested. I don't know anything, but in football, anything can happen. Today, you might be thinking about being closer to your family, and tomorrow, they put together a team to win the championship and everything changes. I don't want to sit here and lie. So he's not leaving anything out there.
I mean, it's interesting that he's again said about this release clause, because I don't know if it was Ben Jacobs or Ali Gold said, despite what Victor's saying, there is no release clause.
Yeah.
So does he think this gentleman's agreement is a release clause? Is there a bit of a loss in translation? Or is there one which Tottenham just don't want to make public? So we're putting out we're just putting out for all the journalists, no, there is no release clause when there actually is one. It's hard to know exactly what the truth is. Obviously, we saw the complications with release clauses in the summer with Morgan Gibbs-White, and how there was one, but it was supposed to be a secret one. So the fact that we knew about it would have breached some sort of term, and they were going to take us to court, and it got very, very messy. It's hard to know exactly what the truth is when it comes to what this release clause is and how valid it is and all this kind of stuff. If it is true, I mean, it seems quite low, I would say. I mean, at the height of it, 53 million. Do I see Tottenham agreeing to a release clause that low? Not really. I mean, we signed him for what? 40 million, was it? So
roundabout, yeah.
I think you'd probably, if it was going to be a release clause, you'd like to think it's going to be at least 60. Like, I think 53.8 is a bit low. So that makes me think, I don't know how much truth there is to that, this release clause. But what it does do is it goes to the mindset of Kuti himself, because this is his dad's talking. I'm sure he talks to his dad a lot. And I think that really goes into where his head's at the moment. Obviously, I don't think it's a secret that he's disgruntled and that he, probably wants to move on in the summer, given the lot of outbursts he's made. I mean, obviously, you can read into a lot of that where you think his head's at. But now this is his actual dad speaking. So you got, someone within the Romero camp talking like he's talking, saying, he could be thinking something now, but then if they put a team together to win the title, then things can change. So that clearly for me is him signalling, look, this club ain't going anywhere. This club is in the wilderness. They're not run right. They've broke, but if things change and they put a team together to win the title, maybe something can change. But are we going to do that this summer?
Football is such a game of moments, and it's moving very fast, and parts are changing very quickly. Under Thomas Frank, they were probably sitting there thinking, many of them were probably sitting there thinking, look, this guy's just been given a long contract. Nobody believes in him. The football that we're playing is absolutely dire. We can't seem to buy a win. Everything doesn't align with the vision of a lot of the players there in the squad. And obviously I'm talking mainly about players like Romero and Van der Ven. But now De Zerbi's in. You never know what can change in terms of the thinking of the players. And, I hark back to Jan Vertonghen. I know I do it a lot, but I think it's a good case in point, because Jan Vertonghen, in that season where he was slumped on the sides at Anfield, and he was disgruntled, he wasn't putting his heart and soul into it. Pochettino came in and changed everything. He changed everything, and probably not just for Vertonghen, for many players probably in the back end there. So the right manager can change a lot.
You look at Harry Kane. When he wanted to leave, Nuno was here. He couldn't hit a barn door. He wasn't looking like anything like the player that we know. Everyone's saying, he doesn't want to be here. He wants to leave. If he's not going to play, if he's going to play like this, just drop him. People were calling for Harry Kane to be dropped. Do you remember those days? Calling for Kane to be dropped. That's how bad it got. And then Conte comes in and became, for the last 6 months, the best player in the league again. And his psyche changed.
He should have been dropped, though.
Maybe, but whatever. We're not having this argument now. But I'm just saying that's how much it can change.
Some were saying Kane weren't world class. I was never on that camp.
I remember. I was having big arguments with people. Kane ain't world class anymore. I was like, you're crazy. You're insane. These people are chatting nonsense. And I think, that was another case of evidence that it's, how much a manager can change things to certain players and a club. And you're right. We'll see what De Zerbi brings. The problem is we've had Romero and Van der Ven have been at the club through times where you're thinking, okay, now maybe they're going to start taking things seriously, and then it never lasts more than a year, and things go seriously wrong. We then, we sacked the manager who won a trophy. We appointed Thomas Frank. We broke promises to Romero. All these kind of things. So getting that trust back, even in 7 games, is going to be a very tall order. It's going to be very, very hard to do. And another element is we're going to have the World Cup in the summer. They're all going off. It's hard exactly to show statements of intent in the transfer market when it's going to be very hard to sign players early on because everyone's going to be at the World Cup. So then all of a sudden, once the players come back, it's not going to be that long until the season starts, and all of a sudden, if they're going to try and engineer a move, they're not going to be left with as much time as they would have been. So they don't have as much time to make those decisions of, do I want to stay or not, than they would have had if it wasn't a World Cup season, and all that plays into what their intentions are going into the summer. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I really hope it doesn't get messy, and I'd hope, look, if he makes a decision, look, I think it's time to move on, but let's just maybe facilitate a move and deal with it as quickly as possible, not let it drag on. That's probably the best for everyone. Knowing how it was under Levy, he loved having things drag on. Even the Harry Kane one, he dragged it on until the first game of the season, until we sold him to Bayern. So I hope we act in a different way, but it seems as though right now it's no secret that his mind is elsewhere. But let's just hope he can lock in for these 7 games, because we're going to need him.
Yeah.
And it's not great to hear from your captain's dad, is it?
The positive thing about squad building and moving forward, about having De Zerbi in now, he's got 7 games to really assess things.
Yeah.
As opposed to him starting in the summer and starting at the first day of January when a lot of players are still at the World Cup. He won't have any time to assess the squad. Now he's got time to assess this squad. He's got 7 games, and then he's got a few weeks in the summer before the World Cup to really mull over things and seeing who he does want, who he doesn't want, and he'll have a really good idea come the summer of what he wants his squad to actually look like. And I think that's such a positive when we're looking forward to next season, as opposed to any other new manager that could come in.
Yeah, which is obviously one of the main benefits to bring him now.
Yeah,
you get that little head start on next season. It's harder to call it a pre-season because we're in such a dire strait that we obviously need results now. If we were in like mid-table, you could probably call this a mini pre-season, but it's not quite that level. But 100%, it's a massive advantage, and hopefully it gives us a bit of a head start for next season.
All right, well, there you have it. That's the Tottenham update for today. We've got a couple of super chats to get into. Let's just bring them up. Jake P says, boys, if we win our next game, I'll shave my head on the post-match reaction. Partially saves me money on haircuts. Partially, I'll be in shock we won the game.
All right, deal.
Who are you, Jake? We need to know who you are before you're making such sweeping statements like this.
All right, we'll hold you to that, Jake.
Well, I'll be on that post-match reaction. I'll be on the post-match fan show come Sunday. So I want to see that. If Spurs win, you need to be calling in, and you need to be calling in with a razor as well.
Get the clippers ready, mate.
Exactly.
Get the clippers
White
ready.
Wolves with the super chat saying, if Romero and Van der Ven leave this summer, Vuskovic should be our starting centre-back. It's time for us to start to believe in our youth. It's time for change, or a change of approach, or to change our approach and develop the players ourselves. Yeah, look, I'm not against that at all. I'm massively in favour of having Vuskovic here as our starting centre-back next season. But I think that if he is dead set on going back to Hamburg for another year, it can't do us. It won't hurt us. It will only strengthen our position in the future.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's a bit of like sometimes hypocrisy with these kind of. Look, I don't know what White Wolves his position has been in the past, but has he been a kind of fan who's been frustrated with the signings of Tell and Odebear and Gray and Bergvall and trusting them, but all of a sudden he wants us to trust more youth? Like, I'm not saying you do. You've always been on board with it. I'm just saying, if you're going to go down this approach, which I'm not totally against, it comes at a cost, and the cost is short-term pain, and the cost is allowing them to make mistakes and allowing them to develop, with the benefit of maybe down the line in a year or two's time, you've got a full squad who's got unbelievable quality, but not just that, they're willing to die for you. You've helped them bring them up. They're all kind of in sync with each other because they've been playing with each other a long time. And you've got young players who feel indebted to the club and indebted to you because you've given that opportunity. So all of a sudden, that can be a very powerful thing. But in the short term, that might come at a cost. And are fans willing to stomach inconsistent results with in the meantime, essentially, when you're trusting those youth players? Vuskovic doesn't come in, I don't think, into the Premier League, and he doesn't come in and become one of the best centre-backs in the league immediating. I know he's done that at Bundesliga.
Everyone's saying he won't do this, he won't do that. He keeps flourishing with flying colours.
I know, but Premier League
even at the international stage.
I'm not saying he won't be a very good Premier League defender. I'm just saying, if you're expecting him to come in and he's going to be like one of the best centre-backs in the league straight away, I don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to take time to build him that.
I mean, Saliba did it.
Yeah, but true. Saliba was a bit older when he came in to the
He was like a couple years older, not that
22?
much. Yeah, 21, I think he was.
I think 21, 22.
Made his debut for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Saliba's also was playing in the French league for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing Bundesliga for 1 year. It's a bit different. The other leagues have been obviously Belgium.
But I'm saying,
Croatia.
when you have a special player like that, sometimes they can surprise you.
Look, maybe he can. I'm just saying, you might have to be patient with him, and you might be patient with, if you're, let's say, his opinion. Let's bring all our youth. So let's bring Mikey Moore in. Let's bring Donnelly in. Let's bring.
Good point. Adam Phillips, Dean Hyson at 19 was a star in the Premier League.
Adam Phillips, Dean, yeah, again, but he played many years in Serie A. Again, so he had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Vuskovic has played 1 year in Bundesliga. Maybe he's ready. I'm not saying he probably is ready for the Prem. I'm saying, is he going to be one of the better centre-backs in the league straight away? I don't know. It might take a bit of time to get there. And will fans be able to put up with that? Give him a bit of patience? Or are they going to, because he's coming in as a superstar, are they going to expect him to be, like, because he's been one of the better centre-backs in Bundesliga, are they expecting him to be one of the better centre-backs in the league? And when he isn't, are they going to criticise him and say, he's not good enough to start, or are they going to give him a bit of patience?
Yeah, he'll need to be afforded the patience if it doesn't go well. But I think the upsides could massively weigh out the downsides with Luka Vuskovic. I mean, you see him play; it's just like nothing phases him. Mm-hmm. He plays against Bayern Munich, he plays against Borussia Dortmund, and he's world class. You know what I mean? It's like he plays against Brazil, and he's one of the better players on the pitch for Croatia in a 3-1 loss. So I mean, the guy, whatever you put in front of him, seems to pass the test with flying colours every time.
It depends what we want. If we're saying we want to get, back into, if we're saying we want to get back into Europe and maybe challenging for like Europa League or Champions League next season, is Vuskovic at that level just yet? I don't know. Maybe he could be, but we don't quite know if he's at that level to be a starting centre back in a team doing that week in, week out. He might take him a few months to get to be there, or he might hit that straight away. But I'm saying, if we're happy to, be a bit inconsistent, be a mid-table team next season, but bed in all these young players, maybe it can work. But if that's not good enough, or we have demands of being in Europe, then we might have to look higher.
I do have an inkling that he will probably go back to Hamburg next season. 1 more year at Hamburg, and then come back and be our starting, maybe not even starting defender, but hopefully the hope is he goes back there, and then by the time he comes back, Spurs are in Europe again. Mm-hmm. Next season, 1 game a week, no European football, just domestic. The chances are not exactly they're gonna be at a premium, aren't they? Particularly if we sign like a Jan Van Hecker or something like that. Like, we're not gonna have the ability to bed in so many different players next season.
Well, that's his point. His point is we shouldn't. I'm guessing his point is we shouldn't sign a Van Hecker and we just play Vuskovic. That's his point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. Look, I'm not against either option. I'm not against not signing a Van Hecker, bringing in Vuskovic, but I'm also not against sending him back for another season, bringing in a Van Hecker, and then bringing him in the next season when we've got European football. Like, I can see the values in both, and I don't really mind which route we go down.
My point being, I think, are we more likely to get into Europe next season if we've got Vuskovic starting or Van Hecke, if just for next season. I think Van Hecke probably, because he's more Prem ready, more experienced. So I think Van Hecke's probably right now maybe a better defender. Vuskovic obviously got incredibly high ceiling, and he might even be nearly as good as Van Hecke. But my point is, you probably finish a bit high if you've got Van Hecke next season. So you got to take the good with the bad if you're going to say, no, we're going to go Vuskovic because we really believe in him right now. And we think if we play him within a few months, he could be one of the better centre-backs in the league. But we've got to take a bit of a short-term hit on that.
It's going to be interesting. It's a good point here that Tango bin El Shaid makes. He says Vuskovic is going to shine at the World Cup and then Bayern are going to come calling. But
yeah, you might be
I
right
mean,
on that.
If Vuskovic does shine at the World Cup, which I think he will, like if he has an astonishing World Cup and Croatia go to the quarters or the semi or whatever it may be, like everyone's narrative on Vuskovic is, well, I think a lot of people are saying bring him in right now, but maybe your narrative on Vuskovic might change.
Potentially. What, say maybe he's completely ready to start? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
If you can do it at the World Cup, why not?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on, people. Let's go and check out De Zerbi's 8-minute training clip in all its glory. We saw the first minute clip, or the 1-minute clip, should I say, last week, and it just whetted our appetite. We wanted more, and we got more that evening, and it did not disappoint, people. It did not disappoint.
Yeah, I was thinking surely we're going to get a longer thing, and then as soon as we left the studio, they released it. So it's really good stuff. I think you learn quite a bit from it, which is really interesting. I think there were a lot of questions that we had about De Zerbi. Is he going to play his way? Is he going to compromise? All these kind of things. I do think we get a few answers here about all those questions and who he's going to like, who he's going to dislike, all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at De Zerbi's training.
Let's do it.
Oh, but you didn't mention on the updates why actually that Romero and the Porro thing, they weren't there.
Oh yeah, because they got an extended break.
They got an extended break, which is a lot of people weren't too happy about. They feel like Romero should have come early, but
no, I think promises were made by the previous management, and I think it's just right to uphold those promises, and they'll come back. They're back now, I think.
I think they're back today. I wonder if we'll get any footage from today. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, let's get into this footage.
Oh,
it's glitching the audio.
It's glitching. One sec. Is that glitching on your end? Oh shit!
You need to mute it.
Was that glitching on your end, guys? When it brought on, or was it just for us when it played? Yeah, I think so.
If I mute it, then they can't hear it.
No, I think they will be able to.
Yeah, it was glitching. They're saying. I should try again. Okay. Yeah.
All right, can you hear the audio, guys?
I can't check the comments. I like this. Straight away, arm around Lucas Bergvall.
That's great.
I think he's one of the players that De Zerbi's going to absolutely love.
No, they are saying no audio, by the way.
No audio. So we can hear it, but they can't hear it. They can hear us, but they can't hear YouTube.
I think the only way to do it is for him to put the YouTube and his background.
It's the exact same issue.
Any ideas? No.
try and get this working, guys.
Yeah, should we just do it without the audio? You know, people are saying it's fine without the audio anyway. It's only watching training at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's just a few things.
If they say anything, we'll mention it. And everyone's seen it all already anyway. Let's start it. Let's start it again. Let's get into De Zerbi's training. No audio, guys, but we'll be narrating on top of it. So let's get into it.
Yeah, straight over to Lucas Bergvall.
Love it. Arm on the shoulder of Lucas Bergvall. He knows he's going to be a big player for him.
Yeah, I think Bergvall's going to take his game on leaps and bounds. You know, actually, just a quick one on Bergvall. I remember, he's going to put his arm around him again.
Look at that.
I remember when we having these discussions when he was playing under Ange and how he developed.
Yeah.
And he developed really well, I thought, in his last season under Ange. And you know, he came in, you could see he was very raw, and he made a few mistakes. And once he got up to speed, he was amazing, and he got a Player of the Year. And I remember how we were having these debates, like, was it Ange who developed him, or was it just his natural progression, given more game time, was he naturally developed into this player? But I think we've seen this season, he hasn't been quite as good, has he? Being played out of position, he hasn't quite had the same impact as he did last season. Even when he has played in the centre mid, which hasn't been as common. I don't think he's been as good as last season. So
I think that there has been some games where he's been brilliant this season, Bergvall.
Yeah, but last season he was quite consistently good
because he was consistently in his position.
So that's my point. Like, I think when we've seen him this season, I think Ange did a lot of great work. My point being, I think De Zerbi is gonna get him back to what he was last season.
I agree,
and I think he's going to develop even more. And I think De Zerbi's going to make sure he's getting more out of those quick touches, 1-2 touches, which I think Bergvall needs a lot of work on. I think he hangs onto the ball too much. And I reckon De Zerbi's going to drill that out of him.
I agree.
He's spending a lot of time with Lucas, isn't he? Just giving him specific instructions.
He's keeping a keen eye on all the squad, man. He's not going to let anything get past him, Roberto De Zerbi.
Okay.
I saw him in another clip having a nice long chat with João Palhinha as well.
João Palhinha.
I wonder what De Zerbi can get out of João Palhinha. Can he raise his game? Can he get him doing things that we didn't think he could do?
Yeah, I wonder because there's a lot of people say. I've said I don't think he'll like Palhinha because of his lack of technical ability and stuff. But he did like people. Did point out that we did say the same thing about Højbjerg, and he did like Højbjerg. He liked him a lot.
I think Højbjerg is technically better than João Palhinha.
I agree, but still, we sold Højbjerg because he wasn't technically good enough, right? And he got a lot more out of Højbjerg, and he really liked Højbjerg. So maybe could he find something more out of Palhinha? And if he can get something more technically out of him, given his other unbelievable attributes, all of a sudden, you might think, should we be keeping this guy? I mean, it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, these 7 games are going to be big for him. Keep saying, play with your left, play with your left. We still don't know the coaching team behind Roberto De Zerbi.
No, there's
yet.
a few. There are a few whispers, ITKs about his coaching stuff. We don't know fully.
Someone here saying Palhinha could potentially play right back under De Zerbi.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks outside the box for a lot of different positions. He's very much like that, De Zerbi.
But the thing is, with his right backs, if he's going to move a midfielder from right to right back, he needs to be very technically gifted.
True.
He's very hands-on, De Zerbi. Extremely hands-on.
Very.
What's he saying here? Impossible. You have to move. What's
See,
he saying?
he was
Archie
saying-
can become what?
Couldn't really make out what he said at the end there. Archie can become anyone know in the chat. But what he was saying here, you know, when you've got those overloads, 1-2 touch, and you can't lose the ball. Impossible to lose the ball if you've got those advantages and you play it quickly. 1-2 touch with you play it accurately, quickly. Impossible to lose the ball. So he's trying to drill into them to use those numerical advantages, I think, and which is something we never do. We never get these overloads.
It's such a breath of fresh air. Like, what was Frank telling them? Just get the ball to Kudus and the rest of your crap, basically.
Literally, so that's what it seemed anyway. Get those long throws in. That's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
Training. Get a long throw again. Another long throw. Come on, back again.
At this point of the Frank tenure, they were having long throw competitions.
Yeah, straight away. That was the first thing he did. It was like long throws, guys. That's what we got to do. You know how like De Zerbi, that clip is like they're doing the rondo and they're like again. He's like quickly passing, and then Frank will do long throw and he'll be like again with a long throw, again, throw it in again.
It's a bit of 1-2 touch. Enjoy with the ball. Enjoy with the ball.
Enjoy. We never enjoy with the ball. We don't know how to enjoy with the ball.
He's saying we have to move. We have to move. Play. We have to move.
That is something that 100% we have a massive issue with, and that's our movement when we have the ball.
Agreed.
When we have the ball, it is atrocious. The options we give to each other as teammates, the little interchanges, it is, especially in build-up, it is so bad. It is so bad. We look completely clueless when we're on the ball. And I think little things, little direction, I think it's going to make the world of difference even very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like, okay, we're now playing free-flowing football and, you know, dominating teams. But I think just little things where
It's those few
passing
percentages,
options,
isn't it?
body positions, all those little things that we're just so devoid of in our game. It's ridiculous how bad we are. And I think De Zerbi will just implement these little things. You'll see a difference already, I reckon. You'll see
But
a difference.
in this week alone, it's probably the only week of the whole season that these players have been coached into passing and moving. How crazy is that?
It's mad. I think under Frank, they were so kind of obsessed with getting the ball and running in behind. Every time you see Porro getting the ball, what do you see? Do you see players coming towards him? No, you see players going beyond him so he can hit a long ball over the top and they all run in behind. And there's always a massive space between Porro or the defender and the midfield, because that isn't what he coached them to do. He coached them to all run away from the ball, and so to stretch the opposition, to follow the runners, to create that space there, whereas De Zerbi's going to get everyone very close together. It's going to be very, very different,
Which we've been calling for all season.
which any decent team does.
Yeah. So he's basically just told Spence there to call his agent.
What was he saying here? He's talking about He's talking about now it's individual possession. There are points where the individual has to take responsibility, I think he's saying.
Yeah, he's talking about the new thing in the Premier League is everyone's going man to man.
Yeah, it's become much more widespread.
and it's very different to the way De Zerbi managed when he was at Brighton. So it shows, always adapting, always watching what's going on, and being able to overcome that.
No, but I think the main important thing he's saying here is everyone's going man to man. So now it's more important that you win those individual battles. As much as we're going to be a team when we have the ball, everyone is going man to man. So it's everyone has to win individually their battles. It can't just be about the team playing their way out of possession all the time with little interchanges. You need to take individual responsibility, and you need to win that individual battle. He's saying when it's man to man, he has to be 1 touch, 2 touch, because you've got someone there, you can't hang on to the ball for too long. It says 1 touch, 2 touch, and you're away. That's what you got to do when it's man to man, to get away from your man. Because when a team sets up zonally, it's a lot easier to get a bit of time on the ball, manipulate it to get a bit more time on the ball. Everyone's got a man on them. You can't afford to do that.
You've got seconds, and that's it.
And at the moment, we seem to be just losing every battle, don't we? When it's man to man, every time it's like we don't know what we're doing. And I think De Zerbi's got a better plan for this.
I love his enthusiasm in training. He's pretty much one of the players, isn't he? He's just
crazy.
like moving at the same pace of the game, keeping up with everyone. He wants to play himself.
And I like the training session is you keep the ball for 20 passes, it seems to get a point. So I like that. He's really drilling into them. We need to be able to keep the ball a lot better.
And basically, he just counted up to 20 there, and he said 1 point. So that's probably haven't seen that in training the whole
First point of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
First point of the year.
Crazy.
Alive, alive, alive.
And Dragoshin loses the ball. 10.
Huh?
No, I was just counting with him. I was just counting with him. 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep the ball 10. Keep the ball 10. I love the passion, man. I really do love the passion.
I was just watching that clip. I think Dragoshin nearly lost it about 3 times there.
Nearly, though.
Clip.
Nearly.
Yeah, he did keep it. But I like it. Alive, alive. That is something that we haven't been this season, alive. We've been dead the whole season. So I like that he's focusing on that. He's focusing on getting these players looking active, being on it, switched on. We look like every time we're on the ball, everyone is asleep. Everyone is clueless. But he's like, alive, alive, alive. Come on, look for the ball. Move around. Don't just watch the ball. Look for it. I love that. Oh.
Now it's on the fitness work. But it seems like they did quite well in keeping the ball, to be fair, as opposed to not being able to be trained all bloody year on it.
We know these players can keep the ball. We
Yeah.
know, we've seen it. Obviously, we have our own discussions about what the costs of how Ange played. But what we do know is that when they had the ball and build up and all this kind of stuff, they were able to pass and move and play the ball progressively quite regularly. So they're very capable of doing it, 100%. And I think he knows that. And I like he's having a little discussion with Tell a bit about body position, about where to look, scanning. I like that as well.
The thing is that's a big thing with De Zerbi that a lot of coaches don't even touch on sometimes, in terms of what your body position is when you receive the ball, so you can quickly get it out to each individual channel.
And that's a very big thing. For
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's
Yeah,
one of his main things.
And it's like small details like that that matter so much. See there, you could see what he's saying there to tell.
Ah, Radu. They said Destiny ready. Come on, he wasn't ready because you can see here. Let's see again because he gave so Van der Ven passes into Destiny and he's on his toes a bit. He's not, he doesn't come into the ball and then bam, drags him, tackles him. He's telling him, be ready for the ball.
Gotta always be ready. What's he saying here?
So he's saying attract the pressure, which is what we know De Zerbi likes at press. He's talking about baiting the press, attract the pressure. And he said the speed of our opponent is going to decide the speed of our ball. So he's saying, I'm guessing he's saying, if the opponent's onto you quick, you need to be even quicker. If they're quicker, if they're slower, you can be calm, slow it down, and then or the ball doesn't have to be as quick. But I think he's talking about adapting to what your opponent's doing, and whatever they do, you adapt to it. They decide how fast and quick you play that ball, or how quick you are, and that's very important. That's great. I think, but that also shows as well. He really is drilling in his way of playing, isn't he? I think we were debating, is he going to go fully De Zerbi? Is he going to be, is he going to try and take things back a notch and, just get through the season in giving simple instructions? But he seems to be trying to implement his way of playing very early on, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's interesting because, apparently in the first 3 or 4, I think it was the guy that you spoke to, I was listening to say, in the first 3 or 4 games at Brighton mid-season, he didn't go full on De Zerbi kind of in the initial phases. He kind of stuck to a lot of Potter principles at the beginning.
Well, I've heard conflicting things. He said that, but then I've heard other people, players from Brighton and also coaches what I think Klopp said. He was like, I was very surprised how quickly these Brighton players were playing very close to what De Zerbi wants immediately in that first game. So I think he tried to straight away, whether it was fully there or not. But a lot has been made of, he didn't win his first 5 games. So apparently they were playing quite well, even very early on. Just weren't getting the results.
Do you think it's underestimated how quickly a manager can get a squad up to kind of the way they want to play? Because you look at Ange, in that very first pre-season, we could see a clear identity of the way Ange wanted to play. And that, he didn't have that much time on the training pitch with them then.
We had a pre-season.
Yeah, but he was in pre-season for a couple of weeks before that first game. So he didn't
actual
know
game.
the pre-season game.
Oh right, yeah.
The one against West Ham.
Yeah.
So he imprinted his way of playing very quickly, Ange.
True, you can see it immediately.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? You can see it immediately.
When they are coming strong, we need to be faster. We need to move the ball.
But you have to give angles. You have to give angles give options. And I think that is something that we just don't do at the moment.
Never.
We never ever. You look at a player and they seem to have no options ever. They seem to have no one in front of them, especially in the opposition half.
Yeah.
They seem to have no support ever. And he's saying he was saying here, you could pass, and then once the team comes, bam, you have to give options. You have to play faster. You have to, be alive. And that's just night and day to how he's been playing, isn't it? Give angle.
The doggy was a bit quicker there. Is that Olasesi there?
Yeah. Oh, doggy, nice.
he's going to micromanage literally everything, isn't he? From what they eat to every pass they make to their body positioning. Literally everything is going to be micromanaged in these players.
100%. Which we need. We need that.
It is needed, but like under Ange, it was like the opposite. Like they were not micromanaged at all under Ange Postecoglou.
No. Well,
They were giving so much freedom.
it was controlled chaos, they called it. It's a lot of freedom, but the freedom should cause chaos kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
But I'm saying both things can work. But Ange, you know, I don't think he restricted them from doing too much. If they wanted to make a run there, they'll make a run there. You know? De Zerbi's not like that. De Zerbi will be very regimented in terms of his style.
very more Conte-like.
Yeah. But in an attacking way. Oh, good save. Who was that in goal? Was that Brandon?
What was that pass? Oh, unbelievable. Get him in number 10. Oh,
That's the best pass we've seen all season. Richie with a great finish.
and I think, what is this training trying to teach the players? Because he's clearly got the ball and he's giving them like different ways of restarting it, trying to surprise them. So
Yeah,
I think he's trying to keep
it's
them
of
on our
quick
toes.
thinking.
Quick thinking. Bam.
Archie don't look too happy with himself.
So
there.
I don't think Richie knew he was going to pass there. I think it's all about anticipating.
It's all about smelling out the opportunity. Instincts.
He said, "I'm the same with everybody." He said, I wonder what he's referring to.
No special treatment.
Oh, Zhao. Oh. What was that? Let me see that touch again from Zhao. Oh.
Ah, João Palhinha.
And a finish by Matisse as well.
Where did João Palhinha get that from?
Don't know where he pulled that out of the bag. All right. That's that.
Yeah, look, a lot of interesting stuff and a lot of things to be excited about and positive about and to look forward to as well. Like, I just can't wait for like a week of training to see how this can like relate to on the pitch in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think the main things to learn is what De Zerbi is actually going to implement straight away. Is he implementing his method straight away? Is he going full on, look, this is how I coach. We're going to play De Zerbi ball from day one, and that's what we're going to do. That's the best way we're going to get out of the situation. It looks like that's what he thinks, or that's what he's going to do. Press baiting, keeping the ball, focusing on in possession, kind of how we're going to play it on the ball. And it looks like that is going to be his main focus, which I think is very interesting, because there's a lot of question marks about how he's going to approach his last 7 games, having not been in this situation before. Now, the question is it the right thing to do? Because we don't really know, given that he's not been in this situation before, getting a team playing a certain way very quickly to get out of the situation that we're in. It's a kind of where he's in an unknown territory here. Is he capable of doing it? Is he capable of getting a team that is so devoid of confidence and so lacking any sort of passing in-game model in the whole season? Is he capable of getting them within a week or in the last 7 games to save themselves and they're 1 point above the relegation zone? Because we've seen managers like Deitch and whatever, they're capable of getting a team playing a very solid regimented way of football in a very short amount of time to keep them in a division. Now, can De Zerbi doing it playing this way? I'm not saying he can't, but I guess it's rare that we ever see a manager try to do it, isn't it?
I don't think we've ever seen it.
So, it's hard to say it
But
won't
also,
work.
we've never seen a club as big as Tottenham, where we are right now.
Yeah.
So everything, you're going into brand new territory. So I think the players that we do have, it's probably probably the best course of action or a good course of action to take. But look, at the end of the day, the proof is going to be in the pudding. We're going to have to wait and see how it progresses over the next 7 games. But if you want to go on the game this weekend against Sunderland, they're going to be sitting back. They're going to be giving us not much space in behind. The ball is going to be all in front of them. We're going to have to try and figure out a way to break down this low block, and this is probably the best way to try and do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I do wonder if it does work really well, if a firefighter starts looking different in the coming years. Like firefighters, we're going to start playing football now.
The thing is, it's all about getting the best of the tools at your disposal. Like if we're going into a Burnley, if you're going into a team down at the bottom, you're going to have not as much quality as a team at Tottenham, where I think at Tottenham we've got more players that can suit this kind of way of playing. If you go into one of those teams, it's probably best case of action to go that firefighting method, sit in the low block, defensive first, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of plays out.
Yeah, but it's very interesting to see him talk to the players, his kind of way of explaining things, his intensity. The players seem to be already kind of enjoying it. It looked like, again, look, it's first day of training. They might enjoy it now. Let's see if they enjoy it in a year's time. But I think, look, it looks good. It's a I think you can learn a lot from that training video, and I think answers quite a few questions immediately.
I think what it comes down to, it always just comes down to results at the end of the day. I think the players will enjoy the training. The players will enjoy everything if they're seeing results at the end of it. Like even with Thomas Frank, like if we would have been getting results under Thomas Frank, it would have been fine. The players would have, they would have been enjoying the method because they'll see it gets results. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what it all comes down to. Like with Conte, he had the same methods in year 1 than he had in year 2. Year 2 didn't yield the results. That's when you started hearing all this disgruntlement and stuff. First year, they were loving it because we were getting the results. So if De Zerbi can get the results quickly, no matter what, they'll be absolutely loving life.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So there you have it. That is De Zerbi's training. Apologies on the audio. We couldn't seem to be getting that through for you guys, but that is it from us today. We'll see you all again tomorrow for some more Spurs content, but definitely much looking forward to seeing how this De Zerbi reign flourishes over the next 7 games. Interesting to note, actually, just before we end, that we didn't see Kudus in any of the training, or Javi, I don't think.
Javi we did.
We did see Javi.
Javi was there,
Javi was
but
there.
Kudus, no. Let's hope. There's rumours he's going to be fit for Sunderland. Look, let's hope he gets a whole week of training this week. He's back, but yeah, no sign of him just yet.
So we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.